Hello everyone, it's Laffy Traffy. Chapter 1022 of One Piece is officially out, and let me say that it is a fantastic 11 out of 10, Twitter confirmed, chapter. The stars take the stage. Such a beautiful title for such a beautiful chapter, and everything that happens in it, I really have no complaints for it. So if you're interested in just tunnel visioning everything great about this chapter, stay tuned till the end of the video because I'll have nothing but great things to say about it. If it's your first time here, make sure you subscribe if you are interested in future chapter reviews or you've watched a few and you enjoy my reviews or reactions. I also do the anime, do a bunch of different One Piece and Attack on Titan related stuff, so make sure you subscribe if you're interested in any of that. Also like the video, because this chapter was amazing. Also follow me on Twitch and Twitter for more gaming, anime, and One Piece content, and I also do chapter reviews over on Twitch every Friday that a chapter is out, so go follow me over there if you're interested in that. But with that all out of the way, let's dive into my review, and it's gonna be a long one, of 1022 of One Piece, The Stars Take the Stage. The chapter opens up with a nice view of the interior of the Skull Dome, and we get to see where all of the Tobiropo have fallen and where their fights took place. This is super helpful because I had no idea the layout of inside the Skull Dome, so just the fact that like Black Maria's all the way up there and Sasaki's down there, I had no idea. I was hoping this was something that the anime could have cleared up, but they didn't. In fact, it just was more confusing. We see that the Tobiropo are indeed defeated. We see Sasaki, Black Maria, and Who's Who knocked unconscious, not getting back up, at least not yet. And we also know that Page 1 and Ulti are knocked down, and then of course Drake has switched sides, so he doesn't count, so all of the Tobiropo are down for the count. I would have liked to see Ulti and Page 1 included in this, little close-up shots of them all being defeated so we can really see all the work that the Straw Hats put in, but this is good too. Now we have to wonder if these zone users are indeed going to stay down, because if they don't, I wouldn't really be surprised, because we have seen that ancient zones, and especially awakened zones in general, like in Impel Down, they have very high durability and regenerative ability as well, so do you think the Tobiropo have awakened zones? Or is that just an obvious thing that we can assume that they do? That's an interesting thing. Let me know. I wouldn't doubt it because they're such great fighters, but an awakened ancient zone? I feel like that would be pretty destructive, so I don't know if they do have awakened yet. Maybe Sasaki, maybe, and Who's Who, maybe? I don't know. But if they are awakened, that increases the chances of them getting back up by a lot. My theory that if they do get up at some point later on, it will be for a really cool scene where every Straw Hat is meeting kind of in the center, right under the performance stage. Everyone except Luffy, and they're all kind of like, oh, everyone's done with their fights, let's meet up and see what we have to do next, and then from all their respective locations, the Tobiropo come crawling out, half beaten down and looking for revenge on their assigned fighter for each one, but then the Straw Hats just do some really cool combo attack and take down all of them at once. I think that if the Tobiropo were brought back just to be beat down again by the Straw Hats as a whole, would be pretty cool. It'd be a little bit more comedic, but it's One Piece, so I wouldn't be mad about it. Maybe this will happen once King and Queen are defeated, but we'll get more into that at the end of the video. That being said, that's a big if. Big if true. The Tobiropo get back up. I'm not necessarily saying that they will. In my opinion, I think this might be it, because story-wise, I would be fairly satisfied if they didn't get back up. We saw the Straw Hats shine. The Tobiropo did their part in showcasing how well the Straw Hats are improving and how strong they are now, so to save time, I think that it's fine if the Tobiropo don't get back up. They did their part. They were great. We had good fights with them, and now I think they're out. Cutting over to the next scene, we see Onigashima is drawing awfully close to the flower capital. And as I suppose we should have expected, we get a hard time limit to when the flower capital will be crushed. Of course, there was always a time limit. It's just to me that it's a little cliche to put like an actual number to how much time they have left, but it does help emphasize the urgency here. The big speculation here is, will defeating Kaido be the only way that Onigashima is not dropped on the capital. If it is, then they are gonna be rushing him, and I don't know if they would be able to do it on time, especially if it's just Luffy, even just Luffy and Yamato up there against Kaido. Katakuri and Luffy fought for how long? And now, you know, Kaido's been fighting a lot. He's fought the Scabbards, the Rooftop Gang, Luffy alone, then Yamato, and now Luffy again. So Kaido's surely worn down, but it's nowhere near the time that we're used to fights going on. So to say that Luffy has less than 15 minutes to get up there and defeat Kaido, that seems a little bit improbable that he'll make it in time, unless there are a lot of people up on the rooftop with him, which I am not opposed to. I think that Luffy should definitely be able to 1v1 Kaido at the very end, but I'm kind of hoping that maybe, you know, Yamato, Marco, Law, of course, Kid, Killer, Zoro, Sanji, maybe the entirety of the Straw Hats. I feel like they could all help out on the rooftop, and I think that would be a really cool final big group battle all against Kaido going in. So in that case, they might be able to just bull rush him down in time, but it seems unlikely. However, we have another factor here now, and that is Momo. Momo has asked Shinobu to be aged up so that he can properly help the allies in the raid and everything, and I'll admit, I'm not a great fan of this whole idea because he's losing his life, basically, and he's still gonna be a child inside of an adult's body. Maybe I'll get into it more in a different video about my thoughts on the whole Momo thing, so let me know below so I can take everyone's opinions into consideration when making that video, because I like to hear what everyone has to say before I make a video so I can include different perspectives. However, it seems pretty clear that Momo will be aged up because it was already introduced, the concept, Shinobu said that she could do it, it's irreversible, and realistically, Momo sacrificing 20 years, which it doesn't even have to be 20 years, but Momo sacrificing any amount of his lifespan to save his country is reasonable, and it's not completely unnecessary. But this chapter, it kind of clicked with me, and I know this has been a theory before, but this is really setting it in stone, that if Momo's only purpose of aging up and becoming a bigger dragon and being able to fight better or whatever, if his only purpose there is to save Onigashima from crashing onto the flower capital, I think that's pretty worth it. I think that that would be a fairly reasonable sacrifice to be able to catch Onigashima, maybe, since he's the clone of Kaido's devil fruit. He should be able to use the same clouds, which we've seen him walk on before, so it's just a matter of, will aging him up magically make him an expert in his devil fruit, because he's gonna have to carry an entire island on those clouds that he can even carry himself on. But like I said, I'll get more into that. But if that's his purpose, and if that's his main contribution, is saving Onigashima so that the rest of the gang, whoever it is fighting Kaido, can continue fighting Kaido in peace and not have to worry about the time limit, then I think that's worth it, and I am more on board with the Momo idea. So yeah, let me know what you expect Momo to do in this raid after he's aged up. Will he just fight Kaido? Will he save Onigashima? Will he do both? Neither? Let me know. My main point here is that Momo could take away Kaido's trump card of holding the island hostage, basically. And I think I would like that. Next scene, we see Raizo and Fukurokuju fighting, and I am really interested in this fight just because it's a different style of fighting that we've seen up to this point, because ninjas, and he's using clone jutsus. Fukurokuju has earlobe attacks, sure. Like I mentioned in my reaction, I wonder if Fukurokuju, the more he trained, the longer his earlobes got, because we saw him in the flashback and his earlobes were, you know, long, but not outrageously long. So, you know, I wonder if he was an effective fighter when his earlobes were only like this. But we see him now, they are They're a force to be reckoned with, I'll say that. I wonder if we could put hockey on them. Ugh. The most important part of this scene, however, is Raizo's speech to Fukurokuju, talking about how Odin is their benefactor, and it's not out of obligation, it's out of the emotional bond that ties all of the scabbards together and to Odin, and if it wasn't for that, which Fukurokuju sees as a weakness, then the scabbards wouldn't be here fighting for their lives and wanting to achieve Odin's dream and make Momonosuke shogun. His speech really hits hard here, seeing all the scabbards in those panels and seeing Kiku and Kinemon and Ashura-doji. This is the first we're seeing of Ashura-doji since he sacrificed himself in the explosion against the drawing from Kanjuro. So good job, Kanjuro. Hopefully he's dead too. It's just really heartbreaking to see the fallen scabbards here side by side with the ones who are still fighting. And if you don't by now know my stand on the whole deaths thing, they're dead. I stand by the fact that they're probably not getting back up. With the way that Kinemon went out was whoo! And now you're seeing the bodies still laying there. If that doesn't convince you, nothing will. And I just feel so alone that I can't mourn them because no one else believes that they're dead. And if they're not dead, then yay! You know? Mourn them and respect that their deaths were real. But, you know, if they come out to be alive later, then good. But I really don't think they are. I would hate to miss this opportunity to feel with the rest of the characters as the scabbards die. Because Kiku, Keen, and I wasn't sure about Ashura-doji because we didn't see him, we just kind of saw the explosion, so there was a possibility that he could have gotten out. But seeing him now, it's been a while since he's done that explosion. There's no way that he's getting back up. And it really sucks. And this reminds me also that Izo doesn't know that Kiku has fallen yet, and that just breaks my heart even more. I don't think I want to see the reactions when the rest of the scabbards find out who's fallen. Man. Speaking of dead or not dead characters though, important note, we don't see Orochi here. The last we saw him, he was cut down by Kinemon, but if we counted correctly in the panels, he was left with one head left. So if that's an indication of how many lives, or just the fact that you have to cut them all together at the same time, or else he'll just respawn, I think that's an indication that Orochi might not be dead. And you'd think that Raizo would have said something, but there's a lot of flames everywhere, so there's a possibility that Orochi, the sniveling little rat that he is, maybe skedaddled somewhere else while the flames and the battle was going on and Raizo was distracted. So I am interested in seeing where Orochi is and what he's up to, because I'm sure he's alive. Because he actually has a devil fruit, that makes sense why he's alive. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see what Orochi has planned. Next scene is Killer versus Hawkins, and god, there's just so much to this chapter. I just keep going scene by scene by scene, and there's so much to talk about in each one, so again, sorry if this is a longer review, but like the video if you enjoy longer reviews, and like the video if you like shorter reviews too, just so I know how everyone's feeling. But it's really just not in me to fly by these scenes because every single one of them is important and there's a lot to digest for each one. But Hawkins here comes out and confesses to Killer, not like that he is holding Kid's life hostage in one of his voodoo straw dolls, which I really want to know how Hawkins' devil fruit works. Really. We've seen this exact scenario with Law earlier in Wano where he took Beppo, Sachi and Penguin as hostages to prevent Law from fighting back, and Law, without any other options, without any other options, had to give himself up, and that's how he got captured. So, it's a pretty effective ability, I have to say. In order to kill Hawkins, Killer would have to kill Kid. So yeah, I have just a few questions about Hawkins' devil fruit, and unfortunately I have the answers to none. What's the ritual that he uses to store people's lives? Can he choose which ones are next, or are they just in order in which he captured the lives? How long can he hold on to the lives? We've seen him willingly let go of Beppo, Sachi, and Penguin's lives before, so he can control at least that. Did he willingly save Kid's life as a last resort because he thought that he was going to be able to beat Killer? Because if he could control the order, why wouldn't he just open with Kid as the life on the line and so Killer couldn't hurt him at all? Who are all the people that Killer/Hawkins has killed up to this point? I can't answer any of these questions. But anyway, the second thing I'm most interested in about this scenario in this fight is how Killer is going to be able to get out of this situation. Killer and Kid have just such a great relationship as brothers, partners, crewmates, first mate, and captain. Their relationship is really great and they are really focused on protecting each other. Of the two of them, Killer was never the reckless one, so I don't believe that he's going to risk Kid's life unnecessarily. He's not reckless, but he's super smart and tactical. Though even Law couldn't figure it out, but maybe with enough time, Hawkins can figure out a way around it. Maybe there's sea stone around. That was the only real possibility that I was thinking to just nullify Hawkins' ability. But another theory going out there, and I heard it first from Joy Girl, was that if Killer attacks Hawkins' left arm, obviously that won't have an effect on Kid because he doesn't have an arm, so that would be a really funny and smart way to at least damage Hawkins without risking Killer at all. But, I mean, that still won't take Hawkins out of the game. There's still gonna have to be something to get Hawkins out of the fight, and I'm hoping that it's not gonna be just Hawkins reading his tarot cards and realizing that he's in the losing end of the battle and just switches sides or leaves, because that would just be really anticlimactic. So I hope that there's something that happens that either makes him change sides on his own, not from his cards or just whatever the survivability is, or he's actually defeated in some way. I saw the idea that maybe Killer and Law switch places. I don't know, again, I don't know the layout of the entire interior or where Hawkins is versus where Big Mom is, but I would love to see Law versus Hawkins because they've had a lot of interactions leading up to it, and I think Law could have some revenge and have the opportunity to figure out what Hawkins' ability is exactly and find a way to nullify it, get around it, I don't know, but Kid sure isn't dying. Hopefully Killer doesn't die, so hopefully maybe some other third party will come in and either get rid of Hawkins in some other way. It's just hard because when it comes down to it, unless there's Sea Stone or Hawkins willingly gives up, there's really no way around hurting Hawkins without hurting Kid, so maybe it will be just whenever he sees his cards and he sees the odds are stacked against him, maybe he's the 1% man. Did he ever think of that, Hawkins, huh? You coward.
Coward! I know that I want to punch you in the nose. I'll beat your goddamn ass, you son of a bitch!
But I mean, Kid is fighting Big Mom, so the last thing he needs is a handicap or any additional injuries. I mean, don't leave Law there all alone. I really can't wait to see Kid and Law fight together, though. Once they get the rivalry out of the way, I'm hoping that there's going to be really cool combo attacks, because I think there's a lot of opportunity there, and I think that they can take on Big Mom. I think Kid has yet to really prove himself, and I still am hanging on for hopes for him. So I think if he is able to help Law in defeating Big Mom, that will be a really great feat for him, and I'm just excited that he didn't do well against Kaido. So maybe against Big Mom, maybe it's a little bit different. Regardless, that's going to be amazing. And hopefully they'll get done in time to join the rooftop, but I hope so. God, imagine if Killer did just attack Hawkins over and over again, and then it was only until later that he found out that Kid was dead because of him. God. With the relationship that the two of them have, the obvious bond and love that they have for each other, holy shiza, that would be awful. I'm glad Hawkins did the stereotypical anime villain dialogue where he put all his cards on the table. Pun intended. But now we are at the last scene of the chapter, finally. Did I mention how much stuff happens here? This is why I love this chapter so much, because we get so many different scenes, and each one of them is super important. None of it feels like filler at all. We see King and Queen pushing back against the dissenters amongst the Beast Pirates, who were kind of rooting for Chopper and everyone else because Queen and King are kind of awful. But we see, unfortunately, that they're all kind of burning right now, so yeah. The price for treason is steep. And unfortunately, we see Marco and Sanji are looking really rough as they were fighting both of them, and even says it kind of implies, heavily implies, that Sanji was fighting both of them at one point, so maybe Marco was knocked down and then Sanji stepped up and held off both of them. How long did that happen, and why was this off screen? Jesus. Let alone the Sanji thing, but Marco and Sanji fighting together against King and Queen? That would have been a chapter. Even a panel. That would have been amazing. Of all the fights to not even get a glimpse of. We also see Zoro, and we see that the furry cocaine or whatever medicine that the minks are giving him is taking a little bit longer to work just because he's in such rough shape. Zoro really, he seems to be in a lot of pain in some of these panels, and I do not blame him. He has been through a lot just through the raid. The dude's a beast, though, that he comes up and starts fighting again later, spoiler alert, but we all knew that. And now Queen and King are after Zoro because they caught wind of him trying to be healed, so then Sanji comes back up after he's been knocked down and just kicks Queen right in the face to distract him from going after Zoro, which is amazing. And while that's all happening and Sanji is trying to defend Zoro, Sparrow. Once again, we are faced with my personal nemesis as he aims at Sanji after shit-talking him and just being a little shit, as he always is, and he is going to try and off Sanji for all the things that he seems to be blaming Sanji for all the events of Whole Cake Island and all the events of Wano, which, I mean, close, but there's a lot more to it, so. But speaking of revenge that is kind of unwarranted, but I get it, Nekomamushi comes in and slams Sparrow through the wall as he says, "Let's take this outside," as he attacks Sparrow and getting his revenge for Pedro. I just love Nekomamushi so much. I knew from his first appearance of him just shoulder body slamming Mammoth Boy into the dirt. I love this cat. And I could not think of a better person to put Sparrow in his place. I want him absolutely destroyed. He has accomplished a lot and persevered through a lot of shit that's been thrown at him, and he's been able to wiggle his way this far. I'll give him that. But it's about time someone beat his ass. Look forward to this fight, because I know I will. I love Nekomamushi, and I think he is a great pairing for this fight. But now, back inside, King strolls up, and he's found Zoro, as Zoro is still bandaged up, and Chopper and Miyagi are trying to protect him, and King goes in for an attack, but is stopped by Marco. Again, another character that I just love. Marco stops the attack with a undying thistle imperial flame, and so he's back up and he's back in the fight, but not for long. Marco here lays out the red carpet for the Straw Hats and just plays such a great role in this chapter specifically, and really all of Wano and post-time skip, but this chapter especially, because he lets Zoro and Sanji specifically look their best. Before the big reveal though, we do get some interesting dialogue from Marco towards King, talking about a fire conjuring race that lives on the Red Line. And so we get more information, but not enough information about King's race and what he is, where he's from. I took particular interest in this because it's very rare that we get any information from species or cities, people in general, who are living on the Red Line. We really only know, unless I'm forgetting something vital, we only know about Marijois and the city capital itself on top of the Red Line, which is, you know, makes sense because they're the ruler of the world and they think they're all high and mighty, literally. But we don't get any information about the rest of the entire Red Line. In typical One Piece fashion, this opens up a bunch more questions of like, why was his race destroyed? Were they purposely eradicated by the government? Did something happen to their town or their civilization? Why is King working with Kaido since he's such a rare species? Is that what Kaido liked about King? And now that there's fire conjurers, is there also air, water, and earth conjurers? Or manipulators? Is that pushing it too far? That might be pushing it too far. But that was the first thing that entered my mind, was like all the elements. And maybe those were just races that are extinct now. But yeah, interesting stuff, because King has always been an enigma whenever we first learned that he was a specific race. You know, he's got the whole BDSM look, but I mean, he does have the big black wing and the fire, so there's definitely something interesting going on with his race, regardless of what it is. But I do want to know what it is, and why was it on the red line, because a lot of people were thinking it might have been in Skypiea, or, you know, just the clouds, or the white sea, but they weren't. They were on the red line, on the ground, so I definitely want more information about that. And I do enjoy that Marco's the one who starts this conversation and knows this information too, so I think that's cool. Now we get to the end of the chapter, as Marco has one of my favorite moments amping up this scene. After he stops King's attack from attacking Zoro, King and Queen square up and go to attack Marco, but then Marco quickly puts his hands up and he's like, oh, well, hold on. That's it for me today. I've done my part. You know, I give up. And I have the scene in my head of how cool it could be in the anime. I know that's asking a lot, but we get a close-up of Marco putting up his glasses, cool, all anime style, where he says, that's enough for me today. It's time for the stars to take the stage. And then just from both sides of him, Zoro and Sanji fly by and attack both King and Queen at the same time with a super mega combo attack from Zoro and Sanji. And it is great. This end panel right here, mwah, beautiful, could not have been better. This combo super cool attack consists of Zoro's three-sword style Purgatory Onigiri against King, and then we get Sanji's Diable Jambe Mutan Mallet, or Mutan Shot, depending on which one. But just a beautiful panel here, and everything we could have asked for. And as if that didn't get you feeling the feels, the chapter ends, there's always another end, with Zoro and Sanji talking with each other, and Zoro says, hey, Swirly, hey, Curly Brows, you know, if we win this battle, and Sanji picks up the rest of his sentence, yeah, I think we're gonna get to see it, a glimpse of Luffy as King of the Pirates. And if that isn't the most beautiful thing that you could possibly say to end this chapter, man. Like I said, this chapter is 100% an 11 out of 10. Could not have been better. Really well done chapter. It was well paced. Everything that we saw was important, was interesting. The dialogue was great. The action was great. Nothing but great things to say about this chapter. And the most important thing about this chapter in general is that it's a reminder that we still have quite a bit to get through before Luffy can square up against Kaido with whoever he's going to be fighting with. We've got quite a few fights here left. We've got Raizo and Fukurokuju, Nekomamushi and Perospero, Inuarashi and Jack, Killer and Hawkins, Zoro and Sanji versus King and Queen, and I will say that I enjoy a 2v2 better than I would like just Zoro fighting King and then Sanji fighting Queen. So I hope the group all stay together and they work together, combo attacks on both ends. I think that would be really cool, and I hope they don't separate. But we also need the status of Yamato and Kaido, how they're doing. And then whatever Izo, Denjiro, and Kawamatsu are up to, we haven't seen them. And as well as Drake and Apu, which I think they're fighting each other, so I guess that works. And then, of course, to top it all off, we have Law and Kid against Big Mom, leading all the way up to Luffy versus Kaido as the final battle. So yeah, there's a lot to get through in 15 minutes. I have a feeling that these 15 minutes are gonna drag on a long time. I wasn't reading weekly with Dressrosa, but I feel like there was a similar issue there. I just hope, I mean, if it's filled with what we have, with these panels, Zoro and Sanji and everyone looking so epic, then I'm not gonna complain if it gets dragged on a bit, because as much as I want to see Luffy and Kaido, the majority of these leading up fights are also very interesting and I am very invested in. So yeah, that is just about all I had to say. It wasn't much, you know, it's just a brief overview of the chapter. I genuinely could say more, but I'm gonna end it there. That is my review of 1022 of One Piece, The Stars Take the Stage. If you enjoyed my review, and if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching the whole thing, and make sure you leave a like and comment below what your thoughts are on this whole chapter, every scene. There's so much to talk about, so take your pick. Like I said, I am interested in making a Momo aging up video and my thoughts about it, so if you want to focus on something, let me know what your thoughts are about Momo and turning into a big dragon. Do you think that that's actually going to power him up, or is he just going to catch Onigashima? There's a lot of stuff to think about for that just specific scenario, so let me know what you're thinking so I can look at them as I make my video. So make sure you subscribe so you'll be notified of that video coming out at some point. I have a lot in the works right now. I just really don't have the time to do everything, but just know that I'm really amping up on a lot of content coming up, so make sure you subscribe. It means a lot. We've blasted through 500 subscribers. I'm going to have my 500 subscriber video celebration thing out tomorrow, so again, make sure you subscribe so you'll be notified of that, and I won't spoil what it's about, but you'll see tomorrow. I just apologize that it was so late because we're already at like 540 subscribers, so again, appreciate every single one of you. All the new subscribers, welcome, and I hope you stay for the journey. It means a lot. And follow me on Twitch and Twitter for more One Piece, gaming, and anime content. I do live chapter reactions every Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time, so go check me out over there if you're interested in that, and you can come say hi for my live reactions. And when I'm gaming, I play Splitgate. Dude, I love Splitgate. Anyway, I hope you like this chapter as much as I did. Stay tuned for my future content, and as always, have a great day, follow your dreams, and check me next time. Bye!